Hello, loves. It's Laura from Fashion Illustration Tribe. And I want to do a little riff about the connections between drawing and dancing. Not for everyone, but if you get it, you get it. So, and because I'm launching my Samba Soul Sketch sessions for October, November, it's a perfect time to talk about it a little bit. So I teach, we're getting more specific already. We're going into model drawing. Model drawing, what does that mean? Drawing figures. And in my world, I've been in fashion education for 30 years. Model drawing is so often, most of the time, standing figures. Because we're always working towards fashion illustration. So, we want to get a whole look, head to toe, silhouette, and all of that. And it's not required that we do fancy things with the body, but if you're someone who loves dance, both as an observer or as a mover yourself, the connection is inextricable. And then not only are you expressing through the clothing, but you're expressing through the movements and poses and gestures of the body, right? Body, the hands, the attitude of the head, facial expressions, everything. You can take that as far or keep it as vague as possible, but still, drawing figures is an incredible kind of drawing. It's different than any other kind of drawing. And in 30 years teaching drawing, I can say, most people struggle more with drawing people and faces, both bodies and faces, than they do with drawing anything else. So, and that's what makes drawing the figure so fascinating, because I believe it's because it's so personal. We are people. And there's so much psychology behind that. How do we perceive people? How do we want to be perceived? How do we want our art to be perceived? It's like you can't draw a person without it being very deep. I mean, when you start drawing a person, whether it's in the face or the body, anything you draw that doesn't feel right, it's not just that it doesn't feel right, like, oh, that chair, one leg is shorter. I gotta adjust it. When we're drawing figures, we get we get really caught up in, it's more like uncomfortable. It's like a relationship. It's like a living thing. It's fascinating. The expression in the eyes. I remember my son when he was a little boy, and he would show me these pictures of these dinosaurs, and he'd hand me a piece of Play-Doh, and he would have, kind of made either he would make a creature or he would ask me to make a creature, but if the facial expression was off just a little bit, or if the body pose was off just a little bit, he would get so upset. I said, oh my goodness, he's my son. Because there are some people of us who speak this language, who love this language of people. Maybe you're in fashion or costume, it's about adornment. Maybe it's about dance. Maybe it's about just the expressions of the human form say so much to us. Because every person is a world. Every person carries culture, carries history, carries personality, right? It's just incredible. They're characters. And they have soul. And we want to bring that across. So in model drawing, not only are we drawing, but we're bringing life to life on the paper. And dance, to me, connects with that in that it's movement. Like the reason I became fashion designer, I think one of the big reasons was I had that realization that a garment is just a flat thing on the table. When you put it on a human, it's an art form that comes to life. And it's different with every person that it comes to life on. And so dance, movement, model drawing, all coming together. Now here's the thing. I got off on a tangent, but it all ties together. So when we dance, move, okay, a lot of us have the same fears about self-expression in dance and movement as we do in drawing. And that, when it comes up, it's such a beautiful opportunity for healing and getting to know yourself and growing, because that brings up the things about early in life, people who criticized our body or the way we dressed or the way we drew or the way we sang or the way we moved, any of these things, the way we looked, all those early childhood judgments about our expression, whether our natural expression, being judged and getting feedback and then adjusting ourselves early in life. So many of us, as we get older, are dealing with loosening up, opening up, and freeing up, curing, healing, or becoming aware of those memories in finding our freedom with music or dance or drawing. Ways that dance influences your drawing is, one, playing music versus not playing music when you draw. Completely different experiences. And maybe I remember periods of my life where I was into certain kinds of music that a few years later I realized that they were really negative for me, like whether the lyrics or the chords felt dark. It's like, not that that's bad. The thing is, if that's where you want to be, but to know where you want to be. And sometimes in life, in the busyness of growing up and living in the world, we get so separated from noticing how we feel and caring how we feel, because we're put into sort of a people-pleasing mode in school and stuff, that it takes us time to start realizing when our energy goes up and when it goes down, how we feel. And so the music you listen to is really important. And I know there's a lot, and the reason I'm putting Brazilian samba, there's many Brazilian musics I love, but I chose samba for the session coming up. It's because that's one kind of music that generally just so full of positive, flowing life energy. For me, it's like immediate. And when that's playing and I'm drawing, music is continuous, right? It's uninterrupted. It doesn't back up. It doesn't erase. It doesn't correct itself. So I find music puts you into a flow. Music has lines and textures, just like your drawing does. And the minute you tap into music, you can feel a difference inside your whole body. And generally, again, as you start to pay more careful attention to these things, certain musics might make you tense. Others might make you feel exuberant, energized, soothed, peaceful. And you might use different music for different kinds of drawings and different, we have different moods. But the music puts you into a flow that when you start moving and drawing is impacted, because drawing is a dance. And when we draw bodies, those bodies are dancing. Tying together a lot of wide things. I've been teaching a lot lately, and I just have so many things that I haven't been sharing that I wanted to share. I'll try to keep this short, but So, music puts you into your whole body. When you're drawing, but if you're standing, it helps a lot. And so I've talked in many of my other videos about ways to set up a drawing situation where you're standing, and not as any kind of punishment. Like, this always has to be out of sheer desire. But if you've never done it, let yourself do it. Another thing I recommend in one of my courses was even getting on the floor and drawing. Because, again, your physical state puts you into different states. If you're down on the floor, you feel like a kid again. Remember when we used to sit on the floor with crayons all around us? With these mental states, we need to bring back. So many people, especially in fashion, come to drawing with this very perfect and beautiful shield. We need to bring our child and our passion back on board to really enjoy the experience, to really feel whole, and to really express personality, not just perfection. Perfection can be very thin and dry. We're aiming to do things that are expressive and raw and deep and accurate. But guess what? We don't tell the truth when we're trying to be perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're already judging what you're expressing, you're going to keep telling lots of little sort of lies in your drawing because they feel better on the surface. But when you have tools for drawing accurately, which is in Model Drawing Magic course, you're going to become very precise and very free. You need the both poles in your drawing. Not just the clean perfection, flow, like beauty, but also like drawing a foot when it doesn't look like a foot. You know, because there's so many angles. Look at my hands. Do they look like hands right now if I had to draw them? What do they look like, right? These kinds of questions. The other thing is, if you're taking like yoga or maybe if you're working out, I don't know, I don't do that kind of exercise, but like dancing puts you back in touch with understanding the body, the mechanics of the body. So in the Samba Soul sketch sessions, we're going to open with a little bit of like dance lesson and dance, a little bit of samba. First of all, because there's so many great samba teachers out there in Portuguese, and I'm going to teach you in English, so that should be helpful. But secondly, because everything I teach in model drawing is happening in these dances. The body is in constant flux and flow. And not only is that beautiful, and smooth and flowy, it also gets really good feelings into your body. The music alone does that. Once you start moving, it's even more. It's like you're generating all of this good feeling. And that's not to say that you should only have good feeling, because samba, so many samba songs tell you this too, is an alchemy. You bring your pain, you bring your joy, you bring your sorrow, your anger, your love, everything comes to samba. Now I got all the goosebumps. And isn't that what we want to bring to our art? All of it. Yeah, I got that goosebumps head to toe. Because I know how important this is. I know how healing this is. I want to share this with you. So, as we start becoming aware of the movement of the hips and the shifting of our weight from side to side and how that generates energy and how it generates relaxation, you know, so much about model drawing is when you tell the truth, that model looks like she's resting on her feet and in her body. But when we're struggling with it, she tends to look like she's kind of floating or stiff. I mean, it could be menswear, children, all body types. The way I teach, we work with women primarily, but the method, once you've got it down, all these kind of skills and like an approach, then it translates easily into anything. And again, that's when I'm talking about opposites. Having a strong structure allows you to be very free. Being very wild and open helps you be extremely accurate in your drawing. Literally, like every great thing in life, you know, it's two opposite truths together, the whole experience. Those are the kinds of things that come up in Model Drawing Magic. It's 16 exercises, each one approaching the figure in a different way, so that you experience it through various filters of seeing and feeling. And back to what I was saying about drawing standing up, you know, whether you have a high table, whether you have a drafting table, or whether you sit with a drawing board in your lap, which is something I advise about within the course. But what we're going to explore is working with larger paper, something most of us never got to do. larger paper and working with our arm as we draw. All those natural arcs and sweeping, flowing movements. Even just as I do them, I feel a therapeutic release in these movements. More than ever, we need this. I'm so sad to see, sad and not sad, because now I have my own platform. But within the university and the fashion schools, watching these skills and experiences being eliminated from curriculum and course offerings in schools. Sitting in a room, painting and drawing from a live posed model with music and big window. This is one of the most beautiful experiences of life, truly. And this is what I want to bring to you. I want to bring the experiences I had of being in the city, being in the village, going out dancing, hearing. I'm a singer, so it was like my school. My school was in the music at night. And then in the day, I was teaching lots of model drawing and just so enthusiastic and joyful and bringing that energy into the class because I know the students need it, I need it, we all need it to celebrate life. And when you're drawing on your feet, you've got to be comfortable. Don't stand and then be hurting your back. Your figures will only look happy, flowy, and comfortable when you are. It's another tip. So find ways. Again, this is about bringing awareness back into your body. How am I feeling right now? Where am I tense? Where am I feeling restricted? How can I adjust my surroundings to serve my comfort and flow more? So it's always about caring about how you feel. When you're standing and your paper is large, you have room to look at sweeping movements and capture them. And this, to me, helps you work the whole page at once, not just little areas, not just not just drawing with our fingers and our brains. The fingers and the brains, that's like the micro concentration. That's the last piece. Before that, we want to be drawing with our hearts and our bodies. Again, two opposites that need to come on board. But most of us, the heart, the body's a little shut out. And in the universities, as I was saying, all this computer work, great. We are human beings who need to touch. We have to touch things, smell things, feel things, craft processes. And that's not everybody, right? Some people, they know they're all tech. And I learned a lot of tech too. I enjoy some tech, but I have to keep it balanced for my health within my body. Soothes me, brings me joy. It helps me process. We were born to move, to work, to sweat. What do they say? Some old saying, right? When you sweat and you laugh and you cry, something like that, then you're living a full life. Whereas when I'm working with Photoshop or something, I tend to get much more agitated and yeah. So many ideas were coming and going while I was talking, but one was about standing, about moving, and then in dancing, becoming aware of how your body moves. And as you feel into it, then when you start to draw, you feel like you're in that body. And you choose poses that feel good when you're in them. With your back arched, stretching and moving. It's such a wonderful feeling. And, I'm so curious what comes out of you when you feel good. When you feel good. And again, you don't have to feel good. I'm curious what comes out of you when you don't feel good too. But we need to remember that we deserve this joy, this fun, this pleasure, this play. And this is where we're going in Samba Soul sketch sessions. And this is the vibe of the environments I want to share with you in learning art and design, in learning to draw, in learning to draw the figures. So we are drawing from the inside out, creating from the art inside out, and it's not about things being thrown at us and piled on us. To be honest, working at the university lately, sometimes I just feel like I can feel like the students have like 100 classes, it feels like, they can't, sometimes you don't want to take 100 classes. You want to take one. Or at least you're taking 5 classes, but you're able to let yourself just be deep into them. I want you to have that. I want you to immerse yourself in something wonderful and come out with something wonderful. I'm going to listen to this back, hear what I actually said, but I know there's a lot of gold nuggets in here. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to hear your response to any of it. And if you've never danced samba or even know what it is, don't worry. But it's so inviting. It takes me somewhere, just takes you out. It's such good stuff. And that, along with sketching, is going to be, it's the kind of energy that makes you spill out. And it's a spiritual music. And it takes it kind of lifts your burdens and opens your heart. It's medicinal. It really is. And I love to have that experience with you. It's going to be 5 Friday nights. You can have just the live Zoom sessions to participate in from home. But at the same time, I'm offering it as a bonus for people who join Model Magic before October 11th. If you're watching this at another time, we're talking about 2024 right now. You can either have just the Friday night sessions, 5, or you can buy Model Magic and get those 5 sessions as a bonus just during this enrollment period now. And I can't wait to be with you and do it. Maybe one of the first things you can play with, if you're not familiar with the dancing right now. I'm sure we can all use this right now. Let's do it. Let's put a little movement. These are the kind of things we're going to do to put ourselves in our body for the first half hour before we start drawing, to get the energy circulating. You can put your shoulders, just your shoulders, rolling them back. Notice when you roll them back that your back also arches back. And then let's put them forward. And you might want to do that with your breath, kind of creating your own rhythm. This takes on a whole other movement when we're doing with music, right? And you can feel that your body warms up, your heartbeat increases, you kind of wake up, and you remember that there's all this freedom of movement inside your body, which is the same thing we want to capture in the bodies you draw. And now here's just a little puzzle for you to play with, because I got to leave you with something in the movement area. Is one shoulder coming back? You can isolate. You could try that. Just back, back. And now the other shoulder, let's isolate it. Forward. And while you're at that, I also want you to notice that your shoulders move entirely independently of your rib cage. This whole rib cage situation is just one big block. Your ribs don't move like this up and down, left and right, but your shoulders do. And this is something that's going to help you understand while you're drawing when you become very aware of how mobile the shoulders are. Okay, so we moved one back. We moved the opposite one forward. 2, 3, 4. And now your Little twist of homework for the week is one shoulder back and the other one forward, and one back. And notice my when I go back, my back arches, chest comes forward, heart comes forward, and then now my right heart's more closed and a little hunched forward. Back, forward, back. We're isolating them first. Forward, just like in model drawing, we isolate the blocks and forms that create the body, but then we practice to flow and blend them into each other. And this is, right, one shoulder is going back, one shoulder is going forward, and that is not only beautiful, but it feels amazing. And from the side, the experience of that is... Now in the course, I'll be standing and we'll have the space set up and you'll see the whole body at once, because I'm always talking about that in model drawing, whole body, especially for fashion. We don't isolate bits. You can do that later. But we're always going to be looking at this integrity, a holistic thing, head to toe. And this will be more understandable when it's head to toe as well. But that's your homework. All right, thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And DM me if you have any questions about Samba Soul sketch sessions or model drawing magic, which now is a really good time to get in, because in October into November, we will be meeting live sketching together. All right. Thank you. Bye.